Good morning. Welcome to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. I'm Danielle McCray. I'm chair of the committee and also the council member representing the 2nd District. Just due to technical difficulties, there may be some issues with hearing, but the hearing is still going to be recorded. You can live stream on Charm City TV, and the recording will be available also on Legistar. At this time, I want to ask everyone to please silence your cell phones. Today, we do have committee members who are joining us. Is going to be Councilman Paris Gray from the 8th District, and Vice President Sharon Gray Middleton has an excused absence. In addition, we do have several representatives from the Mayor's Office, the City Council President's Office, and also the Office of Council Services. Our committee staff for today is Paroma Nandi. Today, we're going to be hearing Legislative Oversight LO 25-002, America Rescue Plan Act Quarterly Budget Briefings. This is for the purpose of calling for quarterly financial oversight hearings regarding the management, disbursement, and status of $641 million in federal funding from the America Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, state and local fiscal relief funds to the City of Baltimore. At this time, we're going to start with a presentation from the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs. This is going to be our Deputy City Administrator, Shamaya Kearney.
Good morning, Chair McCray, Councilman Gray. My name is Shamaya Kearney, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Deputy City Administrator and currently as the Acting Chief Recovery Officer for the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs. This morning, I'm joined by fellow members from the Recovery Office who have been instrumental in advancing the $641 million that the city was entrusted with. If you could move the slide 2, please. I'd first like to remind the members of the council and the public where they can find information on the city's American Rescue Plan Act funded projects. Please visit our website at arp.baltimorecity.gov or follow Recover Be More on LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky. As you know, the deadline to fully obligate all American Rescue Plan Act state and local fiscal recovery funds was December 31st, 2024. As shared in the last quarterly hearing, all $641,170,126 awarded to Baltimore City has been obligated. In addition, great strides have been made on ARPA-funded initiatives as we continue towards the December 31st, 2026 expenditure deadline. The Recovery Office proudly shared that progress in the publicly available annual report submitted to the U.S. Department of Treasury as required on July 31st, 2025. As always, I wish to thank this amazing team of public servants for their hard work and dedication. And as I always say to you, in the end, our work will speak for us. I also wish to thank all our partners who have diligently worked to assist the city in recovering from the health and economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. While we have achieved this milestone, we are now intently focused on meeting the statutory expenditure deadline of December 31st, 2026. As of June 30th, 2025, a total of $473.4 million has been expended, which includes increased expenditures of $38.5 million since last quarter. I'll now provide an overview of fully expended grants, expenditures by organization, and more detailed information for organizations that have expended less than 50% of its allocation. Good. All right, next slide. As of June 30th, 2025, 65 of the 126 grants directly awarded from the Recovery Office to city agencies, quasi-government agencies, and nonprofits have been closed. Those projects represent a total spend of nearly $147.7 million, or over $147.7 million, or nearly. Next slide. This slide reflects updated obligation amounts by project. There are some modifications due to underspend on closed projects. Those commitments from the first 3 projects listed were added to the city services obligated amount, and we'll share additional details in upcoming slides. Next slide, please. Next slide. In the next two slides, there's an overview of obligations and expenditures by city agency. You'll note that a few agencies have minimal to no spend, and we will cover more detailed information in subsequent slides. But in total, agencies have expended about 70% of the total obligated funds. If you'll also go to the next slide for a brief overview. So again, that represents about $345 million of expenditures, and again, that's at 70%. Next slide. For quasi-government organizations and nonprofits, they have expended about 86.8% of total obligated funds. And in general, some of the limited spend for some of the organizations are attributed to either capital projects or the timing of the execution of grant agreements that occurred later in our obligation timeline. Next slide. I'll now talk briefly about city agencies that expended less than 50%. We are pleased to announce that there are very few agencies that are in this category, which again is a very good sign and really shows that our partners have been very diligent in trying to meet the expenditure deadline. Next slide. For the Department of Transportation, this allocation is for sidewalk repair and ADA ramps. There's been some low spend that were attributed to delays in contract award. There was a bid protest for one of the contracts, and then in some cases, the prioritization of projects. However, the notices to proceed have been issued and work is ongoing and on track for June 2026 completion. Next slide. For OPI, this allocation is primarily for staffing and for the development of a data warehouse to help eliminate the reliance of external vendors and proprietary platforms for data storage and the development of agency performance plans. While OPI is at about 45% spend, very, very close to the 50%, but again, most of this is for staffing, and we expect for there not to be any delays in some of the additional expenditures that they have in place. Next slide. The city services agreement, the interagency agreement was signed in December of 2024. Those projects will include ADA ramps in the downtown campus, street maintenance and traffic safety, and as members of the council and the public may have heard, our concerted effort for Charm City cleanup, which is ongoing, and a comprehensive cleanup of the entire city. And then in addition to that, there are also plans for tree trimming and removal services. I'll now give an overview of quasi-government agencies expending less than 50%. For BCPSS, there's an error on the slide. The actual expenditure rate is 42%, not 37%, so I want to note that for the record. For this particular project, the City Springs replacement building in Edmondson High School career and technical education renovations design services. Those designs are underway. We expect for there to be invoices soon for the work that's been ongoing, and the targeted completion rate for this project is December 2025. In addition, there's construction that will be happening at the Merville High School football field that we expect to begin in October 25. So that is some of the rationale for the low spend there. Next slide. For Enoch Pratt, low spend is attributed to some of the delays with branch renovation work. However, the work at 2 branches has been completed, and we expect for an additional branch to be completed and reopened in September. In addition, there were some increased costs for the first 3 library branches that will likely impact the ability to complete some of the planned work at other selected branches. So we are working with Enoch Pratt on that allocation and identifying the additional branches and the costs that would be associated with those. Next slide. Next slide. So in the appendix, what we provided is an overview of nonprofit expenditures as well. Next slide. There are about 7 nonprofit organizations that have less than 50% spend. I won't go into all of them, but I'm happy to provide any additional information on those particular organizations if you have questions about that. Next slide. And next slide. Next slide. Great. So that concludes my presentation. Happy to respond to any questions that you may have at this time.
Thank you, Deputy City Administrator Kearney, for the presentation as well as the work that you and your team have done since this office has started. I have a brief question about performance and innovation. What we noted an extra $500,000 was obligated in December 2024 for the 3 hires. You've noted in the presentation that 6 additional staff were onboarded for infrastructure, for expansion, for performance management. When we come back for the next quarterly report, what specifically are you guys looking to see this team actually have completed, or any deliverables that are due by the next quarter when we come back into this hearing?
So it's probably easier for me to answer what some of the strategic plans are to do with OPI, and then I don't know that I have a concrete answer for what will be done by the next quarter, but I want to talk a little bit about some of those plans. So if you recall, in the budget hearing that we had for the City Administrator's Office, we talked about a comprehensive effort to really update the agency performance plans, as well as to create a site that would provide a dashboard that would provide metrics on performance planning, et cetera. So we are working through that with OPI right now, as well as with BBMR, on some updates to agency performance plans, really looking at the measures and ensuring that we're measuring what matters. We think that there are some opportunities for us to add some different measures to some of the plans, and so we'll be doing very in-depth conversations with agencies around that. There are the 9 agencies that are included in the legislation around CityStat, and so we'll be ensuring that we are sitting down with those agencies first to prioritize revising metrics as needed. One of the things that we've also talked about doing is making sure that we create a data dictionary, so we are very clear on how agencies are calculating their measures, as well as ensuring that we understand the data sources that are associated with them. And so that data dictionary will also be something that we'll be working on over the next several months as we go into the next budget year. So the dashboard, as well as those comprehensive sit-downs, are things that we'll be working on in the next several months, and then working on the annual plan that the City Stat team puts out.
We're looking to launch, according to the presentation, 7 new City Stat programs, moving that number from 9 to 16. So I guess to drill down just back to my original question, when we come back, do we know, I understand the work that she said that we're doing, what the metrics look like, the advances that you guys want to make, but are there any concrete numbers to say we're going to have 2 additional agencies that are going to be standing up their City Stat programming?
Oh, yes, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I can certainly provide you with that information. Some of those have already started, and then we have a schedule for some of the upcoming agency specific stats. So I can get that information to you. We do have a schedule, though, that identifies when we're going to stand those up for those that haven't started yet.
Thank you. If you could note just to share the schedule with us, I would appreciate that. I'm gonna stop for right now, and we have Councilman Gray who has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This revolves around Department of Transportation FY25 with the 43.2% already expended. For both the sidewalk ramp repairs or reconstructions and the sidewalk repairs, both have a completion date of June 26 and December 2025 respectively. For clarification purposes, all these projects already accounted for, or is there any room for for citizens to still put in requests for some of these reconstructions or fixes?
So there's already a list, and I'll ask Josh Wilson to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's already a list of projects that were already selected.
That's correct. Thank you, Josh Wilson, project manager. For The way the DOT selects the locations for both ADA ramps and for sidewalks, it's based on a criteria that's outlined in the Complete Streets Manual, and that manual outlines a priority for those that have immediate safety concerns in the quality of their construction. And then after that, there are metrics used for service requests and also community input that DOT has used to outline those locations, but they are already selected at this time.
Thank you. And for those selected, and maybe this is something that we may have to reach out for DOT for, is there a way that the council as a whole can get the comprehensive list and then a breakdown of by district, just so you may be able just to share it with your constituents for some areas that have been chronically, the issues have been raised? Yeah.
I'm fairly certain I can get that for you for the ADA ramps. The sidewalks, I will have to ask my partners at DOT to provide that, but we will get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I don't have any additional questions. Councilman Gray, if that was your only one, then we're going to close out at this time. We thank you all for joining us, again, also for the work that you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this hearing is now in recess.